The Battle of Pokrovsk, the robot war that redefined modern combat. In August 2025, the world read the headlines, "Pokrovsk liberated." It was touted as a stunning Ukrainian victory, a humiliating defeat for Russia. But those headlines, like so many in war, only told a fraction of the story. The truth is, what happened in and around this strategic city was far more complex, far more terrifying, and far more significant for the future of warfare than anyone could have imagined. This wasn't just a battle of soldiers against soldiers. This was the battlefield laboratory where the next chapter of combat was written. A chapter where unmanned ground vehicles, what most of us would call armed robots, fought alongside humans in offensive operations for the first time. A chapter where thousands of drones blacken the skies and where a dangerous game of geopolitical chess between Putin and Trump played out in parallel. Today, we are going to dissect the Battle of Pokrovsk. We will explore the high-stakes strategy, the brutal tactics, and the revolutionary technology that made this 12-day clash a definitive moment in 21st century warfare. This is the story you didn't read in the news. To understand the battle, you must first understand why this city was worth so much blood and treasure. Pokrovsk is what military strategists call a strategic center of gravity. Think of it not as a point on a map, but as the beating heart of the entire Ukrainian defensive effort in the Donetsk region. Every major supply route, every road and railway line carrying weapons, ammunition, food, and reinforcements to the critical frontline cities like Chasiv Yar and Koshyntenivka flows directly through Pokrovsk. Cut the heart, and the body dies. If Russia could capture Pokrovsk, they wouldn't just take territory, they would strangle the Ukrainian defenses. Entire brigades would be isolated, their supply lines severed. The collapse wouldn't be a slow retreat, it would be a rout. But there's another layer. Just 10 kilometers from the city lies an asset whose value is both economic and symbolic, Ukraine's only remaining mine for metallurgical coal. This isn't just coal for heating, it's the high-grade coal essential for producing steel, the backbone of heavy industry, and by extension a wartime economy. Its operations had already been suspended due to the fighting, but its capture by Russia would be a permanent, devastating blow. For Putin, capturing Pokrovsk before his scheduled August 15th summit with Trump in Alaska was a strategic imperative. It wasn't just about winning on the ground, it was about winning at the negotiating table. He needed to create facts on the ground to demonstrate strength and force concessions from a position of power. He needed a victory to wave in front of the cameras. The Russian assault didn't begin with a massive, thunderous armored column. That was the old way. The new way was quieter, subtler, and far more insidious. In late July, they began applying a tactic Ukrainian commander Syrskyi would later call total infiltration. Here's how it worked. Instead of large, easily targetable formations, the Russians deployed countless small, highly mobile infantry groups. These groups, often no larger than a squad, would probe the extensive Ukrainian defensive lines, searching for weak spots, gaps between units, or undermanned positions. When they found a gap, they didn't announce their presence. They slipped through it. They avoided direct firefights at all costs. Their mission was not to engage, but to penetrate. They would move deep behind what was considered the front line, sometimes 15, even 17 kilometers. Once behind, they would establish hidden strongpoints. They weren't hiding in trenches, they were hiding in the basements of abandoned homes, in dense patches of forest, in drainage culverts. There, they would wait, like seeds planted in the rear, ready to sprout into a major threat. Their goal was to sow chaos, to force Ukrainian units to worry about enemies behind them, to cut their supply routes, to make them feel surrounded even if they weren't. This psychological pressure was as important as the physical threat. By August 11th, these infiltrator groups had captured at least 9 settlements and were threatening the crucial T-0504 highway. The situation was described as chaotic. The Ukrainian command was losing its grip on the battlefield. But this infiltration tactic was only possible because of one weapon, the drone. The sky over Pokrovsk was a suffocating blanket of Russian unmanned systems. In July alone, Russia launched over 6,200 kamikaze drone attacks, but their drone campaign was sophisticated. First, they used reconnaissance drones and first-person view (FPV) drones to specifically hunt and destroy Ukrainian drone operators. They understood that blinding the enemy was the first step to victory. Once Ukrainian eyes were diminished, they shifted to interdicting logistics. They targeted trucks, supply convoys, and fuel depots miles behind the front. They weren't just fighting soldiers, they were strangling the army's ability to sustain itself. They created a non-linear battlefield where the front line was everywhere and nowhere all at once. Facing a fragmented and confusing battlefield, Ukraine couldn't respond with a traditional large-scale counteroffensive. They needed a new tool for a new kind of fight. Their response was a masterclass in tactical adaptation built on two pillars: elite infantry and technological innovation. They rushed their best units to the fray: the newly formed 1st Azov Corps and the legendary 93rd Mechanized Brigade Kholodny Yar. These weren't just cannon fodder, they were highly motivated, well-trained problem solvers. Their strategy was methodical and brutal, a two-step process called search and destroy. Step 1. Search. Small Ukrainian recon teams, armed with their own fleet of aerial and now ground reconnaissance drones, began to sweep the captured villages. These drones peered into windows, scanned tree lines, and scoured backyards, methodically hunting for the hidden Russian infiltrators. Step 2. Destroy. Once a Russian position was pinpointed, the coordinates were relayed not necessarily to a massive artillery battery miles away, but to a combined arms team right there on the spot. This team included traditional infantry, drone bombers, and something entirely new: armed unmanned ground vehicles, UGVs. This was the revolutionary moment. For the first time in modern combat, armed robotic platforms were used in a coordinated assault role. The Ukrainians deployed systems like the Liat, a tracked robot armed with a 7.62mm PKT machine gun, and the Termit, a larger modular platform that could be equipped with heavy machine guns or automatic grenade launchers. Declassified footage from the operation shows these eerie unmanned vehicles rolling down shot-up streets and into the courtyards of residential areas. They would advance ahead of the human soldiers, drawing fire and suppressing Russian positions with precise bursts of gunfire. They were the perfect tool for the most dangerous job: clearing buildings and strongpoints without risking a human life. A soldier could operate the Liat from a safe distance, using its cameras to see around corners and engage enemies hiding in basements or upper floors. Between August 4th and 16th, this combined human-robot tactic proved devastatingly effective. Village by village, they cleared the infiltrators: Pokrovsk, Rubizna, Novovodian, Petrovka. The Ukrainian technological answer extended beyond ground robots. To counter Russian electronic jamming, they deployed drones connected by miles of fiber optic cable. While wireless signals can be jammed, a physical cable cannot. This allowed them to maintain crystal-clear, secure video feeds and control over their drones in the most contested electronic environments, effectively creating their own unjammable aerial umbrella. By August 15th, the same day Putin and Trump sat down in Alaska, the Ukrainian 7th Air Assault Corps declared Pokrovsk cleared of Russian forces. The Russian gambit had failed. Their attempt to create a victory for the negotiating table had backfired, resulting instead in staggering losses, over 1,200 casualties, and the destruction of vast amounts of equipment. The summit concluded with little more than vague promises, the shadow of the battle hanging over it. Putin had nothing concrete to show for his efforts. But the real outcome of Pokrovsk wasn't just a tactical victory for Ukraine. It was a strategic data point for every military in the world. This battle proved that warfare has irrevocably changed. The era of massive armored formations clashing on open fields is fading. The future is hybrid. It's small, dispersed infantry units enabled by a vast, layered ecosystem of unmanned systems. It's a constant fight for information dominance, fought with drones and electronic warfare. And now, crucially, it includes armed autonomous systems operating in concert with humans. Pokrovsk showed that technology can be a great equalizer. A nation with fewer soldiers can leverage innovation to counter an adversary with greater mass. But it also opens a Pandora's box of ethical questions. Where do we draw the line with machines making life or death decisions? The Battle of Pokrovsk was the first step into that new world.